Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's lunchtime, and we're still going with a lot of presentations that are going to be super interesting. Please join me in welcoming Gochi today. He's an experienced QA engineering manager, and I also read that you're not just experienced in manual and automation testing, but you're also a trainer for Zemos Education. And today you're going to talk about integrating AI with A/B testing, which sounds like such an exciting topic, especially because AI is we have to talk about it all the time. So today with you, we're going to discover how AI can take experimentation to the next level by making tests smarter, faster, and more adaptive. So I'm really eager to hear what you have to present, and let's welcome Gochi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very much, Elena. So, good morning and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for joining my presentation and my talk today, where I will be speaking about the integration of artificial intelligence with A/B testing. Again, first of all, let me introduce quickly myself. My name is Goce Simonovsky, and I am the Master ISTQB trainer at Zemos Education, which is located in Skopje, North Macedonia. And I am also the QA, meaning Quality Assurance Engineering Manager at WS Audiology, which is located in Erlangen, Germany, where I am heading the Quality Assurance Engineer for the e-commerce department. As you can see on my very first slide, I have added one quote: "You can't optimize what you can't trust." So during my talk and my presentation, we will see what we can optimize and actually how we can build the trust in the data that we need actually for our experimentation. Before we begin, let's first say a few words about Zemos Education, where I am the Master ISTQB trainer. Zemos Education is North Macedonia's largest and most trusted IT and digital skills education center. Within these 30 years of existence and excellent, it has helped more than 100 people, individuals, and organizations to build their digital skills, IT skills, providing training and courses which are globally recognized and providing highly skills in the IT industry. In addition, Zemos Education is also certified and accredited training center for ISTQB, where we provide globally recognized trainings for ISTQB center. So let's continue with today's presentation agenda and the talk, where for beginning we will do some brief introduction to A/B testing. What is actually A/B testing? Why do we use A/B testing and where it is most needed? And then we will see the challenges that we face in the traditional A/B testing. What is important to integrate artificial intelligence. We will give some brief overview of the artificial intelligence integration and its benefits that provides to the experimentation and A/B. Then we will continue to see the QA role into the experimentation and why it is crucial that QAs are added as early as possible when setting up the experiments. And finally, we will review the tools that I have used in my paper and in today's talk, which are Chameleon and OpenAI. And then we will review a brief case study, which I've created myself just for testing purposes and for today's talk, which is page title Experiment using Chameleon. And we will see the results, the insights Chameleon provides, and recommendations. And finally, we will see the key takeaways and the conclusion why artificial intelligence is important part to be integrated into A/B experiment. So before we continue, let's clearly define what A/B testing is. A/B testing, also known as split testing, is a method where we compare two or more versions of the same web page or same app feature or email campaign or any other digital assets to determine and help us determine which one performs better. This technique, meaning technique of A/B experimentation, involves splitting our audience, of course, once the experiment is live, into those two or more groups that we have created for our experiment. Usually, the main group or one of the group is the original versions, where our users that are targeted for our experiment experience the original version, meaning this is version A, and the rest of the audience that are included into our experimentation are experiencing a slightly modified version of this original version, which we are calling version B. By analyzing user responses, organization can objectively measure the effectiveness of all of the variations that we have created in real time, of course, by using artificial intelligence, and to make those data-driven decisions. It is also called split testing, as I mentioned earlier, because it literally splits our audience into those several groups that we have created for our experiment. What is the reason for this? The reason for this is to test the same web application, app feature, email campaign, and so on simultaneously at the same time. The possibilities that, let's say, A/B testing offers include increased user engagement, higher conversion rates, improved user experience, and so on. Before we continue to the objective 3, we need to make sure that we explain who can use actually A/B testing. A/B testing is widely used by marketers, by product managers, by web developers, by conversion rate optimization specialists, and so on. This is important for organizations across various industries to utilize this method to refine user stories, to optimize the website, to run marketing campaigns, to have some UI or UX improvement. But with that being said, with the advancement of the artificial intelligence, the potential for A/B testing has expanded significantly, allowing us to achieve more precise and more impactful results. So before we continue with artificial intelligence and how it is integrated with our A/B testing, let's first see the problems and the challenges that we face with the traditional A/B testing. Traditionally, the A/B testing, the traditional model and method of A/B testing face several limitations. For example, when we have the traditional A/B test, which it can be either on client side or server side, doesn't matter, allows us to test only 2 or 3 variation of the experiment. It, of course, involves a lot of manual testing cycles, which leads us to increased time to market and higher costs. Usually, the QA is added too late, which it has a high impact on our testing and, of course, running the experiment on the real users, where defects can be or are discovered late in the development cycle. It can happen to have poor data confidence, which leads us to unreliable decision-making, and so on. Here in the slide, I have added some of the problems and challenges that we face with the traditional A/B testing. With the advancement of the artificial intelligence and with integrating the artificial intelligence into our A/B testing process and our A/B experimentation, we can address this limitation by, for example, allowing us test multiple variations simultaneously at the same time, reducing the time to market, when we need to run the experiment on the end users, we have reliable decision making. Why I'm saying this? Because with the advancement of the artificial intelligence, we have correct data. Imagine if we have a big experiment with a lot of groups, how the complexity of the SQL queries in order to retrieve the data would be. We can also make mistakes. With the artificial intelligence, we have real-time results, immediate results after the experiment is finished, and we have reliable results. Thus, the decision-making is easier and faster for us. One important thing we have: manual and repetitive tasks. With the artificial intelligence, we are reducing the manual effort and the repetitive tasks, and we have efficient resource utilization for our organization and for our team. So let's move now to artificial intelligence and what artificial intelligence brings us to the table. According to my research and what I have done in my paper and what I have experienced during writing the paper and preparing the presentation, I have found three different but yet very impactful and meaningful areas where artificial intelligence can help us into our experimentation process. First of all is the generative AI, which refers to machine learning models that can automatically create the content. That's why I'm saying that generative AI, we are linking it mostly to the content that is needed for our A/B experiment. Then we are moving on to the predictive artificial intelligence, where the predictive artificial intelligence uses historical and real-time user data to forecast which users are most likely to convert. This is the most important thing for our A/B experiment. Users that will convert or engage with a specific variant. That's why we are running, after all, the A/B experiment. That's why I'm saying predictive AI, I'm linking mostly to the targeting of the audience that will be included into our A/B experiment. And lastly is the real-time goal analysis. Super important thing and super important metric for our A/B experiment, where this refers to the immediate tracking and reporting of the experiment KPIs as users interact with the test variant, of course, depending how many test variants we have created for our A/B test. So let's see one example of each of the things that AI can bring us to the table. First, as we said, generative artificial intelligence that we are linking with the content. In my experiment, and what I have done in my paper is for generative artificial intelligence, I have used personalized headlines and CTAs for landing pages. For example, while using OpenAI's ChatGPT version 4, which is mostly used for idea creation, the marketing team actually can have a great use of this tool to automatically generate multiple headline variations for one A/B test. For example, for my paper and for my experiment, I have used these three variations: upgrade your career in tech today, find your purpose in IT talent matching, and so on. OpenAI ChatGPT can help us refine those test hypotheses, create some contents for what we can actually run the experiment and create the experiment correctly. It has a quite high impact in the experimentation. Why? We have faster test setup, reduced copywriting cycles, and more creative variant diversity. Let's move on now to the predictive artificial intelligence, where, as we said previously, we are linking it to the audience targeting. For example, the tool that I have used in my paper and in my research, which is Chameleon, it has own artificial intelligence engine, which is Chameleon Predict, that targets the visitors most likely to convert. This engine from Chameleon analyzes the user behavior in real time. For example, time on site, scroll activity, visit history, geolocation, and so on. Again, the impact is quite huge. We have better experiment performance by avoiding those noisy users and optimizing for conversion lift per segment. The most important thing which is concerning me the most is real-time goal analysis. We know that the data collection and interpretation can be quite messy and quite complex. We have with Chameleon immediate visibility into experiment performance across variant. Chameleon track goals like time on page, click-through, retention, and all of the goals and events that we have set up during the experiment at the same time, meaning live. Again, we have high impact where we have faster decision making, fewer wasted session, resource utilization, and more reliable experimentation. So since we are talking about artificial intelligence and how it is integrated within our A/B experiment and A/B testing, let's review a few key benefits of the artificial intelligence enhanced A/B experiment. We have test ideation, where artificial intelligence greatly enhances our ability to generate first robust test hypothesis and creatively design variations. The tools, for example, that I have mentioned earlier, OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Chameleon, use generative AI to produce the text, the images, and all of the content variations. This can help us explore a broader set of possibilities efficiently. Let's move on now to the second benefit, when we have data analysis and modeling. With artificial intelligence, we can build sophisticated propensity models and conduct deeper quantitative and qualitative analysis. This not only accelerates data processing, but also provides, let's say, richer user insight. Moving on now to the third benefit, which is mostly about personalizations. We said that with the real-time predictive targeting, this allows us to create adaptive user experience. Previously, we mentioned that predictive artificial intelligence uses the historical data of the user behavior, and this can help us deliver personalized content to the users that are most likely to convert in our experiment. This is the most important thing. And last but not the least is the, let's say, workflow optimization, where artificial intelligence streamlines the overall experimentation workflow by efficiently summarizing a vast amount of data. It can help us prioritize our test effectively and reduce manual, those repetitive tasks. So we mentioned about OpenAI, how it can help us for the generative content. By leveraging OpenAI and including into our experimentation, we can have generative capabilities for this test hypothesis, the content creation, by using OpenAI and A/B tests for both. We can have our key applications, automated variant text, UI content generation. OpenAI, the bots of OpenAI can help us interpret the data and so on. So why experiment with chatbots? Why experiment with OpenAI? Rapid ideation, content creation, data assistance, and of course, it can help us faster run the experiment and take it to the end users. Now we have one question: who ensures the quality? If, for example, AI is running the test, who is testing those tests? We get all the time this question. Can AI replace the quality assurance engineers? I would say maybe, but no. My opinion is that quality assurance engineers are the key part of the team with the help of artificial intelligence. quality assurance plays a really crucial role in artificial intelligence-powered A/B testing. Traditionally, the QA engineers have been perceived merely only as a gatekeepers, and thus they are sometimes often left out. When they are often left out, during the experiment setup, I've seen this in my previous experience, and what I can suggest, please include the QAs into the experiment setup. QA can perform the static testing. They can validate the event tracking. They can additionally spot the inconsistencies that can happen during the creation of variation logic, and they can also target the edge cases and see where the complete end-to-end flow could break by using this variation. That's why I have one quote around my teams and around me, where I say quality is kind of a big deal around here. So why QA is essential in experimentation? QA understands the flow. QA can spot the edge cases, validate the tracking, and if you remember on my very first slide, you can't optimize what you cannot trust. This is why it is crucial and super important for the QA to test all of the events, to validate the tracking. In this way, the QAs are the ones that are building the trust into our application and, of course, our experimentation. So before we continue, let's first see about Chameleon. What is Chameleon and how the integration is done? Chameleon is a tool for A/B experimentation. It can be used for web experimentation, mobile app experimentation, and so on. It is super easy to be integrated. For example, I have done the integration myself into a simple WordPress site, which is located in Hostinger. The integration was done by inserting manually the Chameleon JavaScript snippet inside the header file. So let's move on now, how QA actually can validate the tracking using Chameleon. QA can verify that each goal event is firing. For example, scroll depth, retention, time on page, and so on. What is important for the Chameleon, and how actually QA can benefit from Chameleon? For example, we know that in the traditional A/B testing method, we need to go deep into each variation. We need to make sure that we entered the correct variation, and so on. Chameleon help us simulate user journeys across all variants. We will see all of the variants that I have created. We will go and navigate to Chameleon and show actually how it works. QA can test multiple devices at the same time in browsers, for example, on desktop, mobile, incognito mode, and so on. QA can check the targeting logic is applied correctly, ensure that each user sees the intended version, confirm experiment activation conditions, cross-check real-time data in the Chameleon dashboard, compare expected versus reported conversion. It can review for JavaScript error and broken elements, especially when we have variation-specific code edits. For now, let's go to first to Chameleon. I need to share another screen. So currently we are on the Chameleon dashboard, where we have the landing page and where actually the experiments are created. For today's purposes, I have already created the experiments, which for web experiments, they can be two types: graphic A/B experiments and code-based A/B experiments. Code-based experiments provide extensive control over the website element through some JavaScript, while the graphic experiments offer user-friendly visual approach suitable for marketers and, of course, non-technical people. I have already run one experiment, and we will see the results from that particular experiment, if you remember in my case study. Let's first go to code-based experiment. Chameleon dashboard provides automatic generation for the variants, and this is how actually it looks when creating the experiment. We can add variations, we can delete variations at the same dashboard. And the most important thing is here that we are using JavaScript in order to modify our element for which we are targeting the experiment for. It is super easy. One thing that I forgot to mention is that Chameleon is using its chatbot, Kai, and it can help you to create all of the elements, create the code, and so on. Chameleon is super easy and user-friendly tool which the QAs can use themselves. Whatever you see here, it is done by myself. Me as a QA, I would suggest let the QAs do this and let the QAs create the experiment themselves. So we can see that we have two variations, but do not forget we have the first variation, which is the original one, where we can see it. When we go to traffic allocation, we see the original variation 1, variation 2. What I would suggest, according to my experience, when you are running the experiment for the first time, please always allocate the users and the targeting audience equally between all of the variations. In this way, we will make sure and we will know that the data we gathered from the experiment at the end, it is correct. And in this way, we will know for sure that, okay, let's say variation 1 is the winning variation. Let's go to the targeting. If you remember previously, when I mentioned about predictive AI, Chameleon has this predictive AI engine where we can target high or low engaged users with artificial intelligence. Take the guesswork out of the targeting. With artificial intelligence predictive targeting, we can automatically identify high intent visitors and serve tailored experiments in real time. Of course, we can only target a specific page, just a specific segment, and so on. Then we go to the goals. What are the goals? The goals are the events that are needed for our experiment. Chameleon has its own goals, but it is super easy to create your own customized goals, of course, according to your needs. For example, page transition is custom goal. We will navigate and see how it can be created. And additionally, if, for example, you don't want to use or you would like to use some additional tracking tool, Chameleon provides integration with another tool, for example, Google Analytics, where you can track your events on that platform, and you can have a comparison between the two tools of the events. When we go to the general setting for the experiment code, I have added here my custom event. Let's go to the dashboard. If we go to configure and goals, we can see all of the goals that are created. For example, page transition. It is the custom goal that I have created by myself. If we go now to the web experimentation and see the graphic A/B experiment, which is most suitable for marketers and the non-technical people. Everything is the same as the code-based experiment. The only difference is that when we go to the variations, we can use the graphic editor directly in Chameleon, and we can create our own variations for any of the content that we would like to have into our experiment, even if it's for a text or an image. We have all of the settings that we can do just super easy, and it can help us finalize our testing and our experiment setup. The most important things for the QAs in this way is that instead of trying to enter one of the groups, we can just simply simulate. Let's see how this works. We can simply simulate the A/B experiment, and we can see all of our variations that are needed for our experiment. Let me just reshare again my screen, just to make sure that we see the correct. Okay, here we have the graphic experiment, and then we have on the edit button, we can create our experiment and simulate our experiment. I need to reshare again. Sorry, guys. Okay, here it is. Here is the dashboard for creating this graphic experiment. We have, as I mentioned, all of the options here, and we can target any of the content that we have on our landing page. When we try to simulate how this goes, this goes in this way. It is super easy for the QAs to test because we have the simulation and we can see the original version. We can see variation 1, we can see variation 2. In this way, we are making sure that the experiment is created correctly and the users can get into all of the groups that are created. And additionally, we can test all of the events here by just simply following the rules that are for the experiment. Super easy, super cool stuff. And lastly, let me just reshare again my screen just to see the results of one of the experiments. As you can see here, I have run already one experiment, and let's see the results and the way how the results are presented into Chameleon. This is a specific radar representation of the results after the event is after the experiment is finished. It is super easy to read the results, and we already have the best variant. One thing that I would like to mention here, if you can see the reliability, it is not available. Why is that? The thing is that we have only 37 total visitors, which is not enough to make the concrete decision and this data-driven decision, and the number of days that I have run the experiment is only 4. In order to make sure that we have a successful experiment, we need to make sure that we have enough visitors, meaning a lot of visitors and a lot of data, and the experiment is run long enough so that the data is real and the data is correct. We can select only few of the goals, meaning few of the events that we would like. We have conversion rate, for example, on the primary goal, we can set our primary goal, the total visitors, and so on. If we go to the metrics, we can see the graph representation of all of the metrics that we are using in our experiment. Super easy and super fun and cool stuff. Now I will reshare once again my screen just to show you a successful experiment. Okay, here we are. This is a successful experiment. Why? Because we have total visits this number, days of running, this number. We can see that the reliability is more than 95%. And finally, we have the winning version, which Chameleon provides immediately. This is variation 1. Also, we can see the comparison and we can see the metrics, the graph representation, and so on. Let's now go back to the presentation. Where we already saw the experiment results, and let's give a brief conclusion and strategic recommendation. To summarize, integrating artificial intelligence into A/B testing significantly enhances the experimentation process, leading to increased efficiency, enhanced personalization, and deeper insight into the user behavior. Equally important is the proactive involvement of QA engineers, ensuring the reliability and the success of the experiment. What can be the strategic recommendation here? There are two possible scenarios. Scenario 1, where we implement the winning variation, and scenario 2, where we repeat the experiment with the extended audience. Scenario 1, as we saw in the second experiment in Chameleon. When to choose this, one variation clearly outperformed others across your primary goal. For example, if it's a retention rate, scroll depth, and the action plan is to implement variation 1 across all of the users and so on. And then we have the scenario 2, where we repeat or extend the experiment, as in my first case, where we need to repeat and extend our experiment to more users and to last a bit longer in order to get significant results. Because we didn't have clear winner or the differences were inconclusive, one variant performed better in some segments, but not overall, and so on. So one closing statement from my side. In the world of A/B testing and artificial intelligence, we often focus on optimization, prediction, and control. But behind every experiment, there is a human. Someone taking a risk, asking a question, and seeking clarity. As testers, we just don't validate code, we validate trust. That would be the end of my presentation and my talk. And I'm really, really, really thankful for all of you who joined my presentation.
Thank you so much. We're super thankful that you were here today. We still have time for one or two more questions. So I would ask Jack to maybe show us the first one, which kind of, interested us. And that was how, or if you have an example, how AI improved the outcome of an A/B test. You said in your presentation that it was definitely faster, but do you have a concrete example?
Yes. So a great example of generative artificial intelligence, where I have already mentioned ChatGPT and OpenAI's. It creates the content quite fast and generates multiple creative variants. So, for example, I have already prepared one example using ChatGPT for your site. Let me again reshare my screen, where I can show you how ChatGPT actually helped me in order to create more variants that are, let's say, more creative and more diverse. So in this clear example, just let me know if you can see my screen.
Right now we can. Now we can.
Yes. Yeah. So by just asking a simple question to ChatGPT, could you please help with creating variation or ideas for this website for A/B experiment? Look how greatly and how innovative ChatGPT was in order to create the variants. For example, for header city, for the theme tone, for color palette, for any other different sites and sections of my website. So this is a super nice example where ChatGPT and its generative capabilities can help us with creating
Right.
the variations and our experiments.
Super interesting. So, and what are like the challenges if teams start working with like AI in the A/B testing process?
So for me personally, the biggest challenge was to ensure that all of the data that I'm receiving is, let's say, reliable. That all of the AI models are highly trained and according to the real data and real performed scenarios. By this, it can be overcome by robust testing, including the QAs to test the artificial intelligence models, include their knowledge and capabilities, and make sure that all of the informations that, meaning while training the model, are highly accurate and they will not have any other impact using the experiments when run into the end users.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you also for demonstrating all of this live for us. It was super interesting to watch. Thank you for being here today. For everyone watching, don't forget to vote. You can do that on the A4Q Testing Summit 2025 website. So go there, vote for Goti, and thank you so much for being here today. And I hope we see you next year.
Thank you very much again for providing me this opportunity. It was super nice experience and super challenging experience. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Software testers. Move beyond theory and master testing with the AI-powered ISTQB add-on practical tester by A4Q program. The ISTQB add-on practical tester by A4Q equips you with the theoretical skills and practical competence to truly excel. Learn how to apply black box testing like a pro. Estimate accurately, write flawless defect reports, and catch issues early. The ISTQB add-on practical tester by A4Q complements your ISTQB certification by turning knowledge into powerful action. Visit our websites and find out more information.